This is my presentation on extracting moving people from internet videos, which was a project that was started by Juan, Niebles, Bohyung, Andras, Ferencz, and Fei-Fei. And it's a research paper and an experimental paper on speeding up the process of tracking accurate human movement in videos. So the problem, the purpose of the paper is to produce a fully automatic framework which detects arbitrary human motion from actual video. So the normal way that these types of things are detected, which we'll talk about, is just manual step-by-step using kind of more rigid algorithms. And the reason this field is difficult is due to the fact that bodies are highly articulated and clothing obscures features and hinders detection. Furthermore, the motion of a camera and uneven lighting can complicate the process. So it is hard to track human motion fluidly in a video for these reasons. The goal is to automatically and efficiently extract human motion from videos. The paper describes YouTube as a source for many test subjects which contain real-world data. So they actually use real footage, and in their experiment, which we'll get to later, they take many samples and test their process against the standard algorithms. So the process is based on different techniques, beginning with an upright pedestrian algorithm, complemented by an appearance model with a two-pass constraint clustering algorithm. So these are a couple of commonly known algorithms that are used in tracking and clustering of imaging in videos and images. So the related work are things like body tracking, which is a method of detecting human movement by using generic object tracking methods and treating the humans as blobs. There are more complex models with more articulation, but the method relies on manual initialization and easy samples to deal with in terms of background motion. So that's kind of the manual aspect that they're trying to get around. Those more articulated methods, which are done by layering different processes and steps. Pedestrian detection and pose estimation algorithms have been developed but deal with particular cases and are somewhat inaccurate. Tree-shaped graphical models are promising in body model configuration, although they are computationally expensive, which is another thing that they're trying to tackle in this paper. So the writers of the paper explain that they are building off of the discussed models. They use upright detection and improve the algorithm's computational expense by using temporal information and semi-parametric representations. The temporal information reduces search space regressively and applies the models discussed to the video. So temporal is just over time, so taking those kind of frame by frame and applying multiple algorithms to detect like the upright and then relational constraints and things like that to estimate movement and things like that. The first component of their system that they built, there are two main components to track movement in videos. The first generates hypothesis by coupling human detection with a clustering algorithm. Essentially, this is a part where the people themselves, along with their trajectory, are obtained and modeled. So you get an idea of kind of what is going on frame by frame with this algorithm. And the second system component extracts detailed motion volumes from the video. Analysis is done on appearance and spatiotemporal body configuration. A probability map for each body part is made. This is where the temporal density function comes in, as well as the filtering framework. So this is where you take actual data and estimation, and you take the space of the body and the appendages, and using their algorithms paired with the first component that I just talked about, you get an idea of kind of where this thing is going to be moving, the body. This is the graphic that they had for it. So you get an input video. You have the detection and clustering. So you identify the bodies and then you make separate. So the subject of people detection. As explained, the researchers used the human detection algorithm similar to the pedestrian algorithm. So people detected in upright positions, walking or standing, and it's an initial hypothesis for the second part of the process is a constraint step. So kind of parsing out the information that you have from the initial step. The process first exploits a temporal coherence cue with association. Bounding boxes are set and a tracker goes frame by frame to outline the person. The second part of the process is a constraint step in order to produce similarity and probability maps, removing false detections and generating color and a clear detection for individual clusters. So extracting the spatiotemporal human motion. After getting the cluster for each person with detection, we need to configure all the frames for the cluster. Using temporal information, the human motion analysis algorithms are made more possible by reducing computing power. So using the space and time with their formulas and their three-step method, we're trying to reduce computing power taken. So the appearance model is crucial, and estimating body part relationship is dependent on the temporal human mechanics. Using these methods, a probability map can be generated for predicting accurate movement. At this point, a parametric density function is moved. From this, you get a final model of the movement, which you saw in the example. You get the output there on the right-hand side. You get an accurate look at what the movement is. So this is an example of a heat map of where the temporal motion would be for each body part going forward. The experiment, the researchers used a data set of 50 YouTube sequences of natural human motion, and the link is there for the video examples. The experiment covered each video and measured the retrieval performance of the system created. The precision recall rates at each stage of the system were measured, the stages being pedestrian detection, people detection and clustering, and then building the model with the probability and the density function. The layers presented in the system are shown in the table, and the results are about 10 to 20 seconds with a 2.33 gigahertz CPU. So that's how much faster it is than using the methods separately, and that's one full magnitude. So the automatic system is useful and is an improvement, but more improvements can be made, as the paper describes. The team plans to not only focus on top-down pictorial structures, but also bottom-up cues and large data sets for research purposes in human motion analysis. And that is essentially what the paper was on. They produced a system that meshed different ideas in computer vision to more quickly and accurately get motion capture for humans in videos.